I see that our attendee count is starting to slow down for those who are joining. So why don't we go ahead and get started? We are presenting fresh from our home offices. So we state that as everyone else is, living a new life of a work from home environment. So if we're interrupted during this with kids laughing or yelling in the background, I think that's a part of our everyday life now that we've come to accept, and really brings us smiles to our faces. But thank you for joining us today. My name is Sean Viets. I'm Vice President of Sales with Tellennium. I've been in the telecom expense management space for really 15 years, all the way from operations. I've been managing Fortune 500 accounts for both wireless and wireline. I was a solution architect for expense management solutions for IBM for a number of years prior to coming over to the sales side and selling expense management solutions. So in that process, I assist companies in not only the evaluation of Tellennium, but also putting business cases together and helping understand the business impact that an expense management solution has. Also with me today, I have Todd Givens. Todd, do you want to do a quick introduction?
Sure. Thanks, Sean. Hey, I'm Todd Givens from Tellennium. I'm VP of our technical services group. That includes the auditing efforts, inventory control, and support services within Tellennium. I've been with the organization for 20 years and look very much forward to showcasing the MOT platform to everyone today.
Yeah, so with that said, you guys may have, obviously we're in a webinar with lots of attendees in it, so you guys may have questions. Feel free to interact with us through the chat. We will, if we can, engage in those chat questions throughout the webinar today. But also, if we don't get to them during the webinar, we'll reserve time at the end of today's session to address those as well. So. But really, as we discussed today, we have a wide variety of individuals on our call. Some of you all are prospects looking at Tellennium, wondering what's our big announcement that's coming out within it. But the majority of you today are also our customers. And so you're wondering, what changes are you going to see within your environment in the next couple of weeks? So we plan to discuss that to show you the changes of what is going to occur. And I'll also introduce MOT, or what we call management of things. So Tellennium has some exciting news. We received a trademark for the management of things in the MOT. And so this obviously expands our services, and we'll talk about what that means for our current customer today and for the prospect that's looking at Tellennium. We'll also look at what's the need of MOT, why are companies coming to us, and what was our desire to further our capabilities and our skill sets to manage non-traditional telecom spend within that. We'll demonstrate our platform today. Todd will do that, so you'll be able to see the changes. You'll be able to see how we're actually managing this spend for our current customer base today. So this is one of those things that wasn't just an evolution overnight, wasn't something that we decided to do, but we have actually customers today that were already doing this. The great thing is we just happened to go get the trademark, right? So we just got issued the trademark management of things and the MOT, and so officially releasing that product offering today. And then we'll discuss whether you're a prospect or whether you're a current customer, and if this interests you, how you can engage more within that. So what is MOT? So, traditionally, what we have seen is telecom expenses as they started out were really too complex for a P2P system, your traditional financial system, to handle. The size of the invoice, the complexity of the invoice, the fact that it was always changing, had many different rates associated with it, created the need for a telecom expense management solution. Well, we naturally saw this evolution within your wireline as it transitioned to data circuits and to VoIP and to now SIP and SD-WAN. We saw a transition to mobility where you had the usage, and now it's even into the real-time usage of mobile devices and monitoring those rate plans and the assets that were associated with employees. But now, even with COVID, we've seen an expansion of this going into other spend categories. So now we have, most individuals have a conferencing bridge, or they're using Office 365 and have a license for that. And the truth of the matter is most software companies are going to a subscription type service. And so just as we managed mobility when an end user came onto the company, you needed to turn them up, get them, enable them for their role. But then when they left the company or changed roles, you needed to ensure that that asset, and now in this case, that license is reutilized, that it can be reassigned, or that it follows them from a cost coding perspective. So that way you can properly charge back that invoice. But one of the neat things is, as we've rolled this out, we've also had our customers come to us with other spend categories saying, hey, you do such a good job streamlining my telecom invoices. We're really struggling with expenses such as utilities. Can you help me do the same thing with my AP department of receiving the invoices, tracking missing invoices, automatically producing the cost allocation file, auditing that invoice, and ultimately doing the bill consolidation and paying all of the invoices and doing the reconciliation. So bringing this all back, the management of things is expanding outside of traditional telecom. It's going to any type of spend out there. We can now manage. We can manage the asset that's associated with it and the expense, ensuring that it goes back into allocated back to your company appropriately. So as we were talking with Gartner analysts, with AOTMP, one of the things that was very clear is that your traditional P2P vendor out there, they do broad services and basic services. So, they capture a PO, and they're going to ensure that every invoice stays the same. But as you get into the complexity of spend, what we found is that they really do not do a good job to be able to handle that. That's why it created the need for a telecom expense management, because here you had these highly complex invoices in there that your P2P platform couldn't handle. But now what we're seeing is these TIM vendors, they built a product that wasn't flexible. They're not evolving with the market. And so what you're getting is these TIM vendors trying to expand, but they have multiple platforms. So either they have one for mobility, one for wireline, and a third for cloud. And instead of bringing them all together, what they do is they create an overall reporting platform over the top, and they say it's a single platform. But really what you're seeing is the fact that that platform just is not flexible enough, right? That they don't have the expertise, and they're really not a software player to be able to go out and develop that software. And so that created the need for the MOT platform. The MOT platform has configurable service types, and so it doesn't matter the spend. We can capture it, whether it's an IT service, whether it's a software license, whether it's a utility in there, and we can automate that AP process. The truth of the matter is that the AP department has one of the highest turnovers out of any department. And so the AP department is what pays the bills. That's what literally keeps the lights on for us, right? And so as we talk about business continuity and making sure that we have backup plans if something goes awry, the more we can automate, the more we can streamline, the better, and we can provide a service back to our business within that. So not only is it automating that AP aspect, it's also providing the expertise associated with each one of these services. For instance, if you bring utility services to us, we don't simply just go out, get the invoices, audit them to make sure they're billing against the contract, and then pay them. what we'll also do is at no additional cost, we'll go and do the procurement for it, right? Can you get better rates out there? Can you, for waste, or excuse me, for natural gas and electricity, is there better times to buy those services, right? Looking at the market, we all know that right after a hurricane isn't a good time to buy oftentimes. And so monitoring different things, knowing what's coming on, even with the political atmosphere, all plays into times to hedge and when to buy those utility services. So we bring expertise in to be able to assist you with that. Same thing with your Microsoft licensing. Are you getting good rates? Well, you can go out, you can obviously try to negotiate that yourself, or you can bring Tellennium in and we'll assist you with those items, all the way down to even optimizing it. So are you buying the right amount of a number of licenses? Are they assigned to your end users? So this all brings, you can quickly see the complexity that comes into place here. So where do we find our opportunity? Traditionally within telecom, our average savings per customer was 28% of savings. Well, a great thing is within waste, it's just as high. We can expect almost a 50% savings if we go out and do procurement on waste agreements. And you think, wow, that's a lot. But if you, especially you think of just particularly healthcare, right? You have biomedical waste, you have recycling, you have your regular garbage waste. It starts to get the same complexity as your traditional telecom. And so we have, we have brought in the expertise to be able to assist in those areas within that. Same thing, ensuring that your Microsoft license or that your software that you're buying is all optimized, that you have application rationalization. Is there a purpose why we're paying this invoice, right? So now we can not only just absorb that spend to give you a breakout on your entire organization, but you can also get the expertise to help bring savings. And, Todd, that's so important in today's environment. More and more enterprises I talk to are looking for those cost savings mechanisms, saying, hey, any way you can save us money. We just got off the phone with a healthcare customer, and they have a directive, go find all of the savings that they can. And so that's where we're not only trying to bring in that business continuity of streamlining that AP approach and process, but also ensure that they're getting best in class rates associated with this spend.
Absolutely.
So how this works for our customers, for our current customers, this is going to sound very familiar, right? We're going to, just like we go out and we collect your telecom spend, now we're going to go out and we're going to do the same thing with utilities. We're going to track, we're going to ingest all those invoices. If it's an Office 365 license, we're going to ingest that. We're then going to break that out by inventory, and I'll talk a little bit just whether it's inventory or asset or however you're calling it, or a license or a subscription. We're going to break that out so we can get into the granular details. We're going to track those missing invoices on your behalf. And so now you don't need an AP person going out trying to log into portals, because we have RPA technology that will automatically go out to these portals, pull it down, and load it into our system on your behalf. From there, the system's automatically going to audit that against your assets. Whether there was a variance from the previous month, it's going to audit it against your contract rates and the usage. And then ultimately, our team will come in and say, part of that application, the application just realizing whether it's needed or not, we're going to look for those suspect services. Sounds very similar to telecom, but obviously it takes a unique set of expertise now to be able to drill into those other spend categories. From there, the process will go through an approval process that we'll build, and then we'll build in that cost allocation file to feed right into your financial management system. Or it doesn't need to be a file, it can be a direct API, depending upon how you want to integrate with the MOT platform. From there, if you want, Tellennium can also do that billing aggregation and pay all of your invoices on your behalf, right? So now we're automating that entire AP process. We're taking the risk out. If someone catches a sickness from another pandemic and they can't be in the office, or suddenly they have to work from home, and so they're not receiving those invoices, right? The more we can automate with this technology, whether it be robotic, whether it be receiving EDI feeds, the better your business can trust that, hey, we're going to stay live, our services are going to stay active. So when we get that in, just the same way, traditionally, one of the things that really set Tellennium apart was just the detail that we go into the services. So, traditionally with wireline, we were going down, we're documenting the physical location, we're documenting the pick, the LPIC, the upspeed, the downspeed, the appropriate rates that are associated with that, much more than your traditional, what I would call TIM out there. Same thing now with these other spend categories. So, what is this? Is this a meter? Where is that meter located? What's the purpose of the meter? What can we expect for charges that are associated? For licenses, who is this assigned to? And ensuring that we have that HR connection so that that automatically updates the cost coding, but also ensures that we have a process in place to reutilize those licenses. So now when an employee leaves the company, we know whether we should reassign that license or whether we should just disconnect that altogether. So that all comes a part of our services. The third thing that we'll get is not just the invoice processing and the inventory management, but it's also us going out and proactively getting you the best rates. So for natural gas, electricity, waste, those particular ones, if you just put the spend into our platform, we'll automatically go out and do the procurement for that. For things like Microsoft Office and other ones, there's different aspects how we can engage in that procurement just due to those parties not liking third parties to come directly into the negotiation. So we'll walk through that process with you. But, naturally, if you're in a deregulated or if you have locations in deregulated states, which you can see on the map, in natural gas and energy, we'll go and do that procurement for you. We'll see, hey, can you get this for a cheaper rate out there? Just bringing additional benefits back to our customer base. We always want to prove and have a savings ROI associated with it. And one of the things Todd's going to show you is how we always track our savings in our platform, just like we did with traditional telecom, but now with really any of the expense types. And so just going into those expenses, you'll be able to see not only just now telecom, you'll be able to see what are my licenses associated at a location or to an employee or to a department. You'll be able to automate that reporting out to those end users just the same way that you did with traditional mobility, right? You wanted to provide visibility with mobility to your end users, and you knew that was the best way to be able to reduce your expenses. If you could bring the accountability, show them that it's being watched, you can help drive the end user change. This is the same way with the licenses out there. You show them what they're paying for. Here's your conferencing bridge. Many times when we get into it, we find that end users have 3 conferencing bridges assigned to them, right? And they also have an Office 365 in which they get Teams a part of that. And so all of these areas, we're able to bring to the attention to the department and to the end users to know what they're being charged and being reported on. But also as we make those savings recommendations, maybe it's a utility procurement optimization. We don't only recommend it, we'll ensure that it gets realized, and we track those savings in real time. And last but not least, we try to automate as much as we can. So it's one thing just to have the platform which you can log into, that you can report on, but it's even another thing to be able to push that out to the end user. And then also do the changes proactively without that, so they can see that spin. So with that said, we're going to pause now. I'm going to pass this over to Todd for a demonstration. So you guys, if you're a current customer, you can see the changes that you're going to expect coming in the next couple of weeks. And if you're a prospect of Tellennium, you can see that if you sign up for Tellennium, the benefit that you get out of that. So give me a quick second here as I figure out how to pass this control over to Todd.
All right. Does everyone see my screen?
I do, Todd.
All right, good. Just making sure. All right, and thanks for everyone for joining. This is a great opportunity for me to showcase the MOT platform today. As IT pros, we know that software and technologies that we adopt are ultimately leading indicators for the enterprise, and that's the primary reason that we felt that MOT is such a natural progression in technology development for Tellennium. We're enabling customers to automate these workflows, improve the visibility, generate cost savings, really beyond that traditional telecom expense. And we're doing that today. MOT covers more than just the broad IT categories such as licensing, SaaS apps, and even infrastructure. But really, it's more than just IT. MOT enables the visibility and cost savings for facilities managers, right? Where there's utilities. Items such as waste, natural gas, electric are all just great examples of that, and we're going to show you that today. So as we go through the demonstration, ask yourself how your enterprise can benefit from the broad use case of the MOT platform. Of course, there's role-based security, so telecom can stay with telecom, utilities can stick with the facilities management team, and cloud spend can stay with IT. So just understand that as we go through the platform today, that we're seeing that full visibility of the platform all together as one. Today, I'm going to focus on location-specific reporting, where we really pull together inventory and the financial components of the system. We'll take a look at the high-level reporting that's available to financial reporting, and then kind of drill down to the details so you can see how it all connects. We'll take a look at the project dashboard. That was something that Sean alluded to, where we're tracking the savings initiatives as we go through the life cycle of the relationship. That's always great long-term to be able to cycle back through and see that ROI in real time, month in and month out. And then last, we're going to stick at the end user store. This is a configurable self-serve tool for end users where they can procure and manage the IT and facilities-based services that they need. So with that said, I've landed to the dashboard here within the platform and just kind of show a couple of the pieces of functionality within it. I've mocked up a few different examples of dashboards. We've got some configurability of what we call widgets within each one of these, so users can modify and pull from an existing list of library of what widgets we have available. What's nice about these different dashboards is that you can set the platform to proactively send out this content on a reoccurring basis. So whether it's daily or weekly or monthly, you can set up that on behalf of your specific profile, and that could be different from one user to the next. Selecting here on the location map, I'm just going to work our way down from the platform today just to kind of highlight some of that piece of functionality that we talked about. But when you land on the location map, this is a very visual way to find the location-specific details you're looking for. So you can pan to zoom, you can search for a specific site name, you can search for the specific service that's within what it is that you're looking for. But for today's purpose, I'm going to select on a specific location here. And what it does, it pops up a very visual view of what's gone on at a specific site, over recent history. You can always click within the platform to more detail, and I'll do that by selecting a recent cost history again for a specific site within it. And what that does is it pops over a filtered view of the expense for that site over a rolling 12-month interval. Here you can see where we've integrated together not just your telco services, but also utilities and some of those IT services we've been speaking of today. Inventory, again, we're going to connect it all back to the financial billing and the financial aspects of it. But here within the inventory, we can see again is where's the gas meter located. We can show that we've found outdoor lighting meters within it. So we're really doing a good job of pulling these things all together in that one viewpoint of what's going on at a specific site. all the way down to an end user that exists at a site, and here's the licenses that are found at a specific location. Selecting on the main financial report here. What we show by default is a rolling 12-month view of the services that you have. This is configurable in the sense that we can manipulate the data set to not just show the data by service, but we can flip it over and see that same data set by account as an example. Since we're integrated to your cost coding, we can pull reports that's based upon the cost code that's associated to those locations. Obviously, we're tying expenses back to a specific site, so pulling location reports is very, very simple within the MOT platform. To kind of drill on a specific service, I'll pull it back to service and really drill into, say, electric as an example. So selecting the total cost for the rolling 12-month on electric. We can then look at what we call the sub-account view. That's going to be the total viewpoint at how they break down by invoice on a specific item. So here again, we're looking at electric. We're going to detail out the difference between whether it's just an electric meter or specific for outdoor lighting in this particular case. We'll drill into an electric meter. And from here, what we're collecting on off of those services are what's important to the auditors to help either optimize or help renegotiate or help find billing errors that's within it. So here we're looking at a specific invoice from AEP as a vendor, and we're collecting contact information for said vendor. We're also going to again collect the usage details that's off of a specific meter and what types of services are there. Obviously tying it back to the location and what rate code or what tariff is associated with the specific line item that's here, as an example. Project dashboard, this is again where we're collecting savings as we go through the relationship and the life cycle of our engagement. And what we're doing is throughout that term, Tellennium and its staff members are creating recommendations based upon whether it's billing errors or new optimization ideas or just general cost savings initiatives. They're all routing through the system as items to approve. And what happens is we don't only just suggest the ideas, but we're there to see it all the way through its fruition, all the way through where we're calculating the savings and we're informing the customer what percentage done are the specific line items of implementation that's there.
You know, Todd, I find that this is key, especially in that sales engagement, because so often in sales you can come and say, hey, we're going to save you X amount, right? But one of the great things about that I believe in Tellennium is we don't like to hold our customers hostage, right, with their agreements. We don't lock them into long-term agreements. You know, we have a term of convenience with it. And so being able to bring them back on that stewardship meeting and say, hey, here's what we've done for you, right? Not only from the last 30 days or the 60 days, but if you're like many of our customers, here's since 10 years ago, here's the total savings that has saved you. And we can go back all the way to time and track that. So very powerful, you know, just as I follow up with my customers on the benefit that they're providing from getting out of Tellennium.
Absolutely, and on a long-term basis too, as different team members within our client base change, we can always reflect back in time, and this gives a viewpoint of maybe new leadership of what's been going on over the last 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, as far as that goes too. It really does help kind of build that continual business case. Last item I wanted to showcase today was the store. Again, this is a configurable environment where we can manage different workflows for our customers. It's a self-service tool for the end users, and selecting on that now. On here, what we're doing is we're representing an example, a set of action types that the end user would potentially have assigned to their security group. We can optionally show pricing, or we can require specific user input, but the premise here is to have a standardized tool that centralizes the max for end users. So for here, selecting on just an example of an office suite, where an end user can fill in minimal information or more depending upon what the client needs. But what they could do is select a specific license for what they're looking for and fill out a very simple order form, select and submit it.
You know, a couple of great things about this, Todd, just of one, you know, you have a centralized portal for end users to go through, but you put the security controls in place to ensure that it receives the approval, because we can then put a workflow in the background that will send this order out to the appropriate approver, and they can approve it right from email. Or another great thing that oftentimes as I talk to customers, maybe they have a service now, or maybe they have some other tool in place that's doing some of this. We can also integrate the store with those items. So that way we're keeping the assets up to date, the license base. And then the third thing I would say is bring it back to that HR file, right? So now this is the front end ordering, but what happens when that end user leaves the company? And being able to quickly see, hey, this end user has a conferencing bridge, you know, he has an Office 365 license, he has a mobile iPhone, and he has an air card associated with it, right? So now you can put action plans in place to be able to take care of all that. And you can even, you know, put laptops and put the spend in there. And we can do the recycling of not only mobile devices, but also laptops to really close that entire loop. And that's what we're calling the management of things. But sorry to steal your thunder there, Todd.
No, those are all great examples. Thank you, Sean. That's all I had to show today. So I'm going to try to pass this torch back to Sean and hopefully do it as smoothly as he got it to me.
All right. So, you know, really, what's the next steps? If you're a current customer with us, you probably know Rob Christian. He's probably your account manager that's over it, or had interactions. If this interests you, if you want to learn more, if you want to just engage in the discussions, you know, an appropriate touch base would be with Rob. If you're a new prospect looking at Tellennium, you can go to our website. You can hit the contact us page. You can contact me directly. You can see my information on the screen there, and we would welcome and engage that. But, you know, being respectful of your time, we see that we have some time left, so we're going to open this up for questions. And so if you have a questions, feel free to put it in the chat with that, and we'll wait here a few minutes to see if we get any questions from the attendees.